Now bear this in mind when you watch the video. Number 1. Chains Down aired in HD on Mzansi Magic, but due to my capture equipment at the time, I couldn't avoid HDMI protection on the HDP VR, so you'll see the footage in 480p. Sorry, alright? Number 2. Use of this particular footage falls within fair dealing in terms of Section 12B of the Copyright Act of South Africa. This is because the video is intended for criticism and review, so in potential of me avoiding any lawsuits. And lastly, number 3. I cannot stress this enough. I'm not dissing the individuals in the show. Sure, I'm going to make a few jabs and jokes here and there, but I'm knocking on the decisions the producers made, in turn making the presenters and featured persons do the stuff I'm about to critique constructively. Alright, now that we got those out of the way, let's begin. This video should have been out ages ago. Mzansi Magic has proved itself to be a popular channel in South African homes that have DSTV. Personally, I like the channel and the bouquet of shows it has to offer, from the soapies and some interview shows to even the hilarious reality TV like the infamous Date My Family constantly setting social media alight. So to add to the pool of content, Mzansi Magic decided maybe it's time to have a new show of the automotive variety. Cue Chains Down, picked to be the hottest car show in SA, in air quotes of course, and Mzansi Magic's answer to car culture and potentially Ignition TV, which I probably think was the direct target for this. We've got cars, babes, banter, and even education. Seems pretty cool, right? Well, that is on paper, of course. You see, after watching the first season of Chains Down, I can assume that this is the product of a roundtable boardroom meeting on making a quick car show just for ratings, dump a load of cash into it, but not really looking into the logistics behind it. You see, car shows are the type of show where you either have to do it right or not doing it at all. Because the thing is, there are certain dynamics to adhere to. It's not like a dating show which plays on people's personalities and doesn't really have any dynamics set on stone. In stone. Anyways, yes, this is a petrolhead saying this, but I'm going to try and keep this video relatable to the general public or even individuals who just like cars. Chains Down tried to do a car show right, but it fumbled and tripped on its way and even missed on fundamental things I believe a general TV show should have. Not even considering the dynamics that a car show should have, but in this video I'm going to try and analyze and critique the show in its general format and make special mentions as well as section by section analysis. I've even written a few pages on pages on an A5 notepad on this, as well as seen the first season of this show thrice. Yes, I saw it thrice. You can definitely trust my opinion on this. But first, let's get the obvious things out of the way by dedicating it a quick section. So this is a show from Black Brained Productions. Alright? The show aired on Mondays at around 1900 hours, which I believe is primetime viewing. Now look, I only started watching this show after episode 2 because technology does not like me very much, so I ended up missing the first 2 episodes. Repeats of them to record footage were far and few between when I decided to make this video, which is pretty funny considering that other shows airing at the same time got a few reruns. Now here are 4 things to keep in mind when you watch Chains Down, and what I'll touch on in this video. Number 1, image without substance. Number 2, why quality checks are a good thing. Number 3, spread your budgets evenly and have good production value. And lastly, number 4, why anti-climaxing is a bad thing. One thing you can clearly see with just even the show's intro and opening minute is that this show has budget for days. BP and a few other corporations have partnered with Chains Down. That's the first thing that stuck out to me, but if you check the website for the show, you can see, well, damn, they were loaded. It appears to have its own soundtrack just for the show. They're renting out venues and using fancy camera jibs and lighting. Mzansi Magic has dumped money into this flick along with advertising, social media, all the launch parties and all that jazz. They really wanted this show to take off and be a big thing. Even hiring Boity and Skumba the Big Banger to be hosts of the show is no small affair. And speaking of Boity and Skumba, let's segue into their segments. Alright, so let's get down to business, starting with who our main hosts are. Boity, an actress and TV personality, husky voice and shocking social media one time with pics of her bum. Skumba the Big Banger, a comedian who is actually a pretty funny dude. So right here we have two big local entertainment personalities. You can immediately tell that the producers behind Change Down wanted the show to have a bit more of a name to it, so of course hire people that the public know and love. The public will surely trust what they say and watch the show wholeheartedly. I mean, look, Boity and Skumba I think are a good match on this show. Skumba's banter with Boity comes off as natural and it doesn't really feel very scripted. Not even that, but Skumba is a funny dude. I can't help but crack at a few of his jokes.
Huh? Friends.
This is about other people at home.
But you need to see imoto pasan.
Mang?
O pasan. Aban bahlala ma-creating. We drive ang popojane. What am I driving, Fana?
And while it's all well and good that you have decent presenters, in the case of Change Down, the producers here made a very silly mistake. Why, you ask? It's simply this. Boity and Skumba are good presenters, but they are not good car show presenters. They seem to like cars, but that's where the buck stops. So the way Change Down reviews, in air quotes, their cars is that Boity drives a car, Skumba drives a car, and they say some things. Top quality review stuff, right? Well...
Sometimes just be school mara as not inside brand
All the latest Mercs have this infotainment, very shiny. I mean, you have the option of changing, the material here. You could have it be...
Alright, back to seriousness. Continuing on, a motoring journalist or accomplished enthusiast in the industry pulls through and informs the presenters on what they'll be driving on a surface level basis. So essentially, Boity and Skumba go in relatively blind. But this is where it pretty much falls apart, because since Boity and Skumba are not very clued up on cars, particularly the ones they were driving, the reviews lack a depth like a slay queen. Ho, 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 ho. People are gonna come after me for this. It becomes a case of, oh, the cars have electric windows, it's got buttons on the steering wheel, and nothing more really. And another thing, you can't really get a presenter that complains so much about driving manual cars half the time. Why was this done? You are a reviewer for a car show. It is expected of you to drive manual cars. You can't really complain so much about them. I don't know about this, but that is just so out of left field, it's unbelievable. Another thing, why does this show refer to so many cars as starter packs? I mean, okay, starter pack is a bit of a vague term because there's no solid definition, but from a general perspective...
Starter pack.
This gets so irritating. But anyways, let's get to definition time. What is a starter pack? Well, starter pack generally is an affordable car that gets you off your feet, that is easy to maintain and is fuel efficient. Typically, they're your first cars, like a Toyota Etios, City Golf, and the latter. So, that's the definition. So I don't know why there's no differentiation between what is a starter pack and what isn't. Then again, this isn't a confirmed definition like what I mentioned earlier, but what public opinion generally states. You cannot call a Nissan Juke, an Opel Adam, or Hyundai i20 as a starter pack. I mean, jeez, have you seen the starting prices for those cars? I mean, if you're rich and you stay in Santon pouring champagne on ladies at Taboo, then maybe it'll be a starter pack to you, but come on, let's be serious. You need to differentiate between the two. You cannot say that, oh, this lump of cars, that is a particular, look or brand or something like that, is a starter pack. Then when you look at BMW, Mercedes, oh wait, since you're an accomplished person, then yeah, these can't be considered as starter packs. You need to differentiate. Then again, image without substance. You're focusing so much on the image rather than the substance behind it. This is so irritating, it's unbelievable. But it doesn't end there though. At the end of each respective presenter's review, they obtain an opinion from the public about what they think about the car without driving it, but just taking a look at it, which isn't bad. It's fine for the public to give an opinion on the car by looks alone and how it feels in terms of standing comfort inside. But it makes the intention that Change Down tries to put forward pretty pointless, because the presenters need to give their public an informed opinion and what stands out about the particular car, which they do not do. The public won't know if there's gems out there or turds. They'll see a car that looks nice and be like, yeah, it looks pretty cool, this, that, the other, instead of informing them which was supposed to be done. Then again, like I said, just focusing on the image rather than the substance behind it. Change Down touches the surface like it's your hand on a hot stove plate. It's just there for a few seconds and that's it. Plus, it's pretty funny when the public tries to school Boity and Skumba, but they get it so wrong.
Sports, individual, economic. So to be quite consensuous, that's a beautiful car.
You know your cars.
Definitely.
Alright. Okay, so you're a family man.
Yep.
Do you think this would fit your family, or Should it be any bigger? Was it the perfect size?
Okay, this is a perfect size. The only disadvantage is you need to bear this in mind. It's a C180, so you can't expect much power from it.
Of course.
But family-wise, definite. That's a car would actually.
Look, I do not care who you are, but saying that type of Benz lacks power is a joke. Stop thinking of Rupas and AMGs, mate. You really need to stop doing that, yeah? Now, if the presenters were clued up about the cars they drove, then they should be educating the public on such. A review, after all, in my opinion, is an informed opinion. Well, that was actually kind of slick. As I said, which you need to share to others. This segment could have been improved in 3 ways, though. Number 1, use the gurus as presenters. Number 2, or have the gurus roll around to the presenters and tell them what's tasty about the motors. Or, number 3, actually clue up Boiti and Skumba beforehand so at least they can research the cars and not go in oh so blindly. Like I said, they seem to like cars, but the thing is they are not so informed on them. That's why it kind of falls apart, like I said. Look, I get that by getting Boiti and Skumba involved, you want to make the show more entertaining for the viewers, because let's be serious, a lot of car jargon and talk can fly over people's heads. But seriously, you have to get it right. Like I said in the beginning about dynamics, cars have certain dynamics you have to adhere to. Not only that, you can spit cool facts while not keeping it borderline boring. I don't know why they didn't do that. Something also worth noting is that when the car for review is introduced, it looks like someone went onto YouTube and downloaded video brochures of the cars that they were going to test out. I mean, look at this.
Yes, you've got the 4th generation Renault Clio. It's got those nice Renault features. It's got the hidden rear door handles. It's got the 1-liter engine, 1.2-liter engine. You're driving the 1.2, and it's got a lot of nice.
To top it all off, these videos are just pasted on and look to be low quality downloads compared to the rest of the show's presentation. Lastly, the visit time are even for the wrong market or even the wrong cars too.
My favorite American muscle car, the Ford Mustang Shelby. This is the way to rock up at a party.
I can handle that. Anyway, I'ma go. Drive a Mustang. Damn, nice.
Toyota has really done a good job with this little car. It does not look like this would be a starter pack, but indeed it is. From the basic model to the Sprint hatchback, all the way to the Cross.
Change down, listen to me, man. I mean, come on, listen to me. You've already had so much money spent on you with drone shots, camera jibs, and lighting. It doesn't take more than 30 minutes, and I'm telling you, 30 minutes of panning and setting up a camera to take quick shots of the car you are actually going to review. They kinda did it for the exotic car of the week, but not for the cars that they review on a weekly basis. I mean, come on. You can't even tell that they get the cars from the dealership, which is fine. I don't have a problem with that. I don't see anything wrong. But because of that, you actually had more freedom to play around with the cars while at the same time not impeding on the owners too much. The way they did this just really hurts production value. To be fair, over the course of the season, Boiti and Skumba did get better for their reviews over time, but they still remained less desirable. But whatever, man. On to Tatum Segment. Tatum. She seems to be a newbie in the showbiz industry. So Dayton Segment is dedicated to going out and seeing what motoring attractions Joburg has to offer, from 4x4 courses, shops, and even to cars and coffee. The segments are quite short compared to the reviews Boiti and Skumba do, but there's nothing wrong with short and sweet segments. To be honest, Tatum's segment is one of the less cringy aspects of the show, mostly because she's actually going out and learning things from the enthusiasts and pros in the industry, a learning sponge if you will, instead of actually trying to spit an informed opinion like what was happening in Boiti and Skumba's segments. But, you know, she could actually do a little more, you know, actually have a hands-on experience with the whole going out and about steez. But, you know, apart from that, she does present quite well, and I feel she's had a little bit of a raw deal when she's actually considered the presenter of the show. I mean, check the credits if you don't even believe me. But you see why I'm actually saying this is because she's never with Boiti and Skumba up until the final episode with the Audi giveaway. Oh, the Audi giveaway. I'll get to that in a moment. Just you wait. But back to the whole Tatum thing. I mean, damn, she isn't even in the intro. I mean, she had the spark, but it was hard to see with all the fireworks that the producers were trying to light around the other things of the show. She really should have featured more in the show, and like I said, I feel she got a bit of a raw deal. Hey, you're being awfully nice to Dayton Segment, bruh. A little too nice, if you know what I'm saying. Why are you being so nice, eh? Look, hey. She's a flame, man. You don't douse the flames, okay? You let them burn, baby. Okay, the things I can really critique here are that her segments are so anticlimactic it's not even funny. Like I said earlier, her going out and about is based on hands-on stuff, and you need to show that. For example, with the audio experience, I expected her to see her actually driving more, like in the Hilux segment, and even her riding shotgun in some of the cars, and actually having a GoPro will catch her reactions pretty much. It doesn't hurt to strap on a GoPro, really, it doesn't. But no, it's either they cut the climax or disappoint you with her coming out of the car and telling her that she had a good time and fun. Like, I mean, come on, that's just a little bit of a raw deal, and it's so anticlimactic. I want to see what she's doing. That's the point of you going out and about. It's for the experience and you seeing the experience. And oh, I need to talk about that street racing segment in episode 7. Ho ho ho, we need to talk about that. Look, my opinions aside on street racing, but really, the act in the general sense is taboo. It's the elephant in the room whenever we talk about cars in a lot of instances. But the way Changedown handles it, however, is contradictory in my eyes. Look, I'm not saying outright that you cannot show street racing on TV, but look at the context it's being displayed in. I mean, take a look at this for example.
Drag racing has long been a part of Mzansi's nightlife and culture. According to Motorsport SA, there's at least one official drag strip in each major province. So let's keep it legal, guys.
You already.
This is a show about entertainment that glorifies what it shows. It's not a show that looks at serious matters constructively like, let's say, Special Assignment. In essence, you are kind of glorifying the act of street racing, but at the same time, even with the interviews, it's not really helping in this instance. Like, they try to be serious by saying, you know, keep it legal and be careful if you're a pedestrian, but this came out so wrong. I don't know why this segment made it into the show. What was going on with quality checks when they reviewed this segment? I mean, come on, seriously. This is another thing that bothers me about Changedown also. I mean, you know, the remember to stay safe type of message that they put out, but they really just tried too hard. And this, you know, segment right here is just an example of that, but I'll get into that a little bit later. That aside, Tatum, even as a noob, has potential. Honestly, she could have gotten a bit more of a chance, but it's just I blame the producers for this whole shebang because it could have been better. And yes, she is still a flame, I'm just keeping it real. Leave me alone. On to the next segment! In order to please the partner's brand values, which is kind of ironic considering how they did this show, a little segment of the 30-minute time slot was dedicated to educating the public about fuel and the you should do this kind of stuff at a fuel station kind of jazz. Really, it's nothing bad, except a little bit of cringy acting here and there, but it was informative and, yes, educational. There's some casual tidbits too, which are nothing bad or overly entertaining, but look, it's something to keep the partners happy, and yes, I do like the fact that they put a little bit of education there in the show. Nothing bad at all, it's always good to learn things. Oh, Changedown doesn't necessarily represent those of VP's brand values? Well, no surprise there, considering that whole street racing thing, and a bunch of other stuff. Speaking of values, it's weird how Changedown manages their messages out to the public. During what seems to be odd times in the review, they try spit serious messages about not drinking and driving, speed kills, you know, stuff to please the sponsors and government departments. What? No. Hold on. Whoa. Let's just wait a second here. Stop the review for a second. This doesn't make sense. Once you're dead, you're dead. You're nothing else. How can you be dead and drunk at the same time? Imagine rocking up to the gates of heaven and then they assess like what happened to you, like what did you do? And they're just like, wow, you are a special character. How did you get dead and drunk at the same time? I mean, you even arrived here and you're drunk even. Like, wow, you're talented, man. I give you that. You're very talented. Oh, man. Now look, it's good to put those messages there. I don't have any problem with it. It's just timing is everything. Chuck that stuff at the end of the show as a parting message. That would have felt way better. Skumba does segue into it alright when he does his reviews and stuff, but really I'd rather hear that stuff at the end when I've had my fun with the show. I'm only doing this in one take, man, forget. Another segment of the show reflects a Top Gear-like format similar to the Star in a reasonably priced car, except the twist here is that the public races the celebs without an interview. You know the score of this whole segment. Yawn and skip. I couldn't pay attention to that. They couldn't even show a whole lap to make it interesting. But look, I was just really tired of that. I didn't even really bother watching it. I was on my phone half the time. But anyways, on to the next segment. To end off the show each week, an exotic car is under the covers and either Boity or Skumba gets to drive the car. Sorry, Tatum. This segment is okay, bar the exception when they show off the exotic. There's a lack of emphasis on the sound of the car. I mean, that's another thing that really makes a car exotic besides its looks. You want to hear the sound of the car. I mean, you could have done at least a rev or pull in the car to show why it's a particularly big deal, and even capture the reaction of the presenters when they drive the car for that. That's what makes a car exotic, so to speak. And another thing I noticed in this segment is that instead of using Keepvid to download YouTube promo videos of the car like they did with the usual reviews in the show, Changedown actually decided to take a few panning shots of their own for the exotic cars. Why didn't they do this for the cars that they usually review? I don't know. Consistency is key, people. It adds to production value. Next segment. So, to flex more of the show's budget, and I sound like I'm flexing, it was decided to restore a mangled BMW E30 with suggestions from the internet. Now look, there's your first mistake. Never trust the internet for car modification suggestions, especially if you're getting them from Twitter and Facebook. Just don't. I bet they don't even follow a majority of them. The internet suggestions I've seen are just a way for the show to gain traction, because who doesn't love a BMW E33 series, or the Gusheshe as it's affectionately known here in South Africa? And really, the last thing you need to do is give away a restored lemon. However, I think Changedown did this right somewhat by letting Mousseline, is it Moslin or Muslin? I don't know. I'll just say Mousseline for the sake of this video. Mousseline Executive Classic Cars, from what I saw, handled the restoration. I think they knew what they were doing and I was content with that. It wasn't really a massive restoration, but bear in mind I didn't really see episode 1 or 2, so I didn't know what the car looked like compared to what it was when it was finished. And it wasn't really like a massive conversion, but with what was done, it was alright. I mean, okay, the smoke vinyls on the side, the subwoofers taking up all the damn space in the boot, and jeez man, that massive Dr. Decibel sticker on the rear windscreen, I mean, it's loud like the speakers, man. Look, those aren't to my personal taste, but look, to each their own. If it were me, I'd restore it back to factory level spec, even down to the wheels, and keep a rather subtle sound system. But hey, that's just me. This is Changedown's car. They're allowed to do it the way they want to. No problem with that. Plus, I don't know if anything was done to the engine, but I'll reserve that comment since I didn't really watch the first 2 episodes of the season. I explained why in the beginning of this video. The real crap on the clean paint is something I'll mention in the next segment, and what a segue that is. The final episode for season 1 of Changedown is the pinnacle of anticlimax. It's like expecting an epic dive into a pool and it just ends up being a belly flop. Boy, was that painful. The episode begins with the usual 2 reviews from Boity and Skumba. I mean, something a little more special could have been done, but nope. Just nope. When I mean something special, I mean at least get all the cars you've driven together, or at least just look back at what you've done and mention the best that you've driven throughout the season, and then something that you'd actually recommend to the public, you know, to drive and well, possibly even own. But the biggest offenders here in this episode were the Gush reveal and the way the Audi giveaway was handled. Let's start with the Gush first. The Gusheshe was one of the integral parts of the show because it was a build-up from episode 1. Now, when you do a lackluster reveal of not reminding the people of where they started to where the car is now, comes off as anticlimactic. In the case of the viewers questioning like, so what did you do to the car then? What was it like before? Or, oh, you did a nice gush? Yes, nice, okay, no, this is quite suitable. Tatum handled the reveal of the car, but what would have been actually better was if, as part of her out and about segment, she checks on the gush and see how far the car has come. You know, it kind of did happen in an episode or 2, but really that should have been a thing that should have carried on throughout the season. I mean, hell, even Boity and Skumba could have been there for the reveal under the cover, but it was so damn anticlimactic with minimal time given to the reveal in that episode. To add insult to injury, the winner was announced way after the show finished airing, and even the handover happened on Twitter. Not even on the final episode of the show. It was on Twitter. And way before I should have posted this video. I'm lazy, I know. But anyways, the thing is, look, I don't care who you are. Even if it was a long auditing process to put the car into, you know, the winner's hands, you should have done this on the final episode. It should have been done properly. Look, come on. But hey, congrats to the dude who actually won though. Like, congratulations, man. You got yourself a gush. A proper one even at that. Alright, let's talk about the Audi A3 giveaway segment. Now look, it's cool that thanks to BP and TayeedzSA, Changedown was able to give away 2 brand new Audi A3s. I mean, hell, I even entered the competition, like why not, you know, it's an opportunity to win a free car. Now, quite a bit of time was spent on this, and many people involved in the making of the show were doing this giveaway with a little end of season send-off, which isn't bad. I don't see anything wrong with that. It's just I felt too much time was dedicated here. And hey, look, Tatum is finally together with Boyton Skumba for the first time, which is what should have happened about 10 episodes ago. Now here's what my problem is with this whole segment. Now with a giveaway like this, you'd expect the presenters opening the envelope to reveal the winners, and then the viewers at home will be clutching their entry ballots in suspense, yeah? Then when the winner's name is read out, one of the lucky viewers at home screams and shouts that they won a car. And of course they will say, okay fine, we'll get in touch with you soon and we'll let you know when you can come and collect the car. That's usually what you'd come to expect with giveaways like this, yeah? However, in the case of Change Down, the name was read out and what do you know, the winner walks up into the frame and collects his car. Like, what? The winners were announced like way before, when even? Look, I don't know about you, but doing the reveal in this way, at least to me, is a kick in the crotch and if somewhat seems a little bit fishy. I mean, look, no hate to the guys who won, but come on, how do you do this and then end off with something like that? Because it just seems so wrong, it doesn't feel right. I mean, come on, Chains On, nah son, nah. This is not how you do a giveaway. But you know what, on that whole bombshell, I'm just gonna conclude this video. I'm kinda done here. Right, I think I can come to a conclusion with this video because this is really starting to get damn long. Change Down really isn't exactly how you do a car show, but portrays itself as the image of one. It's like biting into a sweetie pie and there was no marshmallow inside. Boo-hoo. I feel for a 30-minute show airing around prime time, it also bites off more than it can actually chew, as it touches on many things on the surface and then merely dips its toe in the pool. What? That's enough. Yes, it pushes car culture forward in terms of the audiences it was trying to target. And yes, it was attracting that audience well, seeing as Mzansi Magic is one of the most popular channels on DSTV at the moment. But this show, in my opinion, is a bit of a dismal attempt, especially as a petrol head. This isn't the case of dropping money on a show and throwing whatever popular thing you add into the mix to get ratings and views, but something that is meant to have relevancy in terms of the automotive culture in SA. It doesn't really have that sort of relevancy. It tries, but it fumbles and it trips upon itself. You can still have entertainment, yes, that's fine, the show is entertaining, but do it right, that's all I request. If there even is a season 2 in the works, they really need to take a lot of things into consideration. Season 1 had a massive budget from what I can tell, but that budget was spread so unevenly it even went through the bread itself with odd choices within the show's design, as was spoken about in this video. This show can be a lot more, and yes, it is baby steps, this is the first season of the show, but there's too much to not excuse and not ignore. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is my whole problem with Change Down. Other car shows locally make sure they get their facts and production values correct, albeit they may not be as entertaining, but they are done right with relevancy. That is one of the key things also, relevancy. And even down to some local YouTube channels as well. I mean, look at Cars.coza, Talking Cars, Auto Trader, and even the new Kulegani on Wheels shows potential. Those are things you should take, a page out of their books from. You had to maintain a particular standard, and really Change Down is not really maintaining that standard, and it's not really trying to set its own as well. It's really putting down the bar in a sense. But you know what, as the whole parting word for this, well, not even word, the whole paragraph for this video, I just have to say this. Production team, you really need to get back to the drawing board, because if this at least makes it as a season 2, you've only got one chance really to get this right, and I implore that you get this show right, please, especially if you are expanding it to such a massive audience. Because why? The public actually needs to know better in this instance.